All right, B, we're live.
Hello everyone. How y'all
What's up,
doing
everyone?
tonight? Can you hear me okay, Rick?
Oh yeah.
I just posted the live in the group now, so I'm just waiting. Did you post it also and send it to the group also, Rick? Because it's not coming up in there.
Yeah.
Well, I posted the link for the video. It says three you're watching now, so I guess go on to YouTube for that. Okay, so Rick, what is our topic of discussion? What are we going to be discussing tonight?
Well, I did download some videos that I found pretty interesting for us to review on here. It's one, two, three. It's five videos. Two. I'm gonna say four of them are Bigfoot in nature, and one is an I don't know in nature. It could be a rake. So
Okay.
we'll review those a little bit later. Um, One of the topics I'd like to discuss is all these people who are going out and taking pictures, and it's just, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but they're posting blobs. I mean, it's just blobs. And I don't know, people just don't know what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's just a buddy saying, "Hey, man, I see it, man. You got it. You got it." I mean, there's some people that are just posting stuff that's just pretty damn erroneous, and you
Well,
know,
what would you say that makes certain pictures be bad? I guess like when it comes to these cryptids.
well, one is taking photos. I think taking photos is the worst way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Video, honestly, to me, in my opinion, is where I've had the most luck at. I will take a video, and when I go to edit, I can just go through it and take still snapshots of the video. And when you're taking a photo and you're moving your camera and you see something and you snap that picture, if you're still moving, you're going to get nothing but a complete blur going left to right or right to left. And I think it's
Mm-hmm.
just hurting everybody in the community. If everybody would just take video and then do it that way, I think we'd have a little bit more better pictures of what people are seeing. And it's, to me,
Mm-hmm.
I've reviewed probably about, over the last week, probably about 100 pictures. And I can tell you, out of those 100 pictures that I've seen come across, maybe two or three, I was able to point out what was there. So
Right. And you
I
see
don't
that a
know.
lot. You see that a lot on videos, and you see it a lot whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in Facebook groups and stuff like that. So really, a lot of the times, like I've always said, people are expecting Hollywood pictures, clear, crisp picture of what you've seen on The Howling or American Werewolf in London. That's just not the case. I mean, there are times when people do actually get really great photos and pictures. And to me, on my personal opinion on that, I think that it's because they want you to see them, or they want you, or they are allowing you to get those pictures. And that's just my personal opinion on it. Because I've heard several eyewitnesses and during some of the interviews I've done say how they were told, don't take that picture or
Yeah.
don't shoot. They know what this is, they know what cameras are. And I feel like, just like with paranormal activity, I feel like that they have an ability to disrupt the equipment,
Yeah.
cameras, video cameras, EVP. What do you think, Rick?
I've actually had that happen to me with the very first dog man I caught back in April. It actually did that. It messed with the resolution of my phone. So yeah, I agree with that. But I think it's not, to me. It wouldn't be the equipment. I think a lot of the time, like my dad would say, it's not the arrow, it's the Indian. You know,
Okay.
it's with these 4K phones or 4K camera, especially the 4K camera. I got the video camcorder. Man, you can't carry it and walk because it gets so jumpy, and you can't
Yes.
decipher anything. You can't. It's just horrible. Same thing with the phone. I have a little bit better luck with the phone, but you got to be absolutely still if you take a picture, and you're better off using the old school cameras for that. You know, the old school Polaroids where you take the picture, the little square comes out, and
Absolutely.
you just, you know, those are to me are way better because, like Scott Carpenter said, he did a test with the 4K camera at I think 30 feet, and when he started backing up away from the camera, he said the
Hmm.
pixels started turning the color of the foliage that he was standing in, of his shirt was. And so he started to
Yeah.
blend in, and that could be some of the reasons why these creatures come out green or, whatever color the foliage is. So I'm just wanting to put that out there because I'll be honest, and it's not to criticize nobody, but man, do a better job.
Well, what you were saying about them turning green and stuff like that. I've seen that, and I've seen them blend in. I showed you one of my older pictures that I had from the
Yeah,
BlackBerry last night, and you could see how its arm started off from the top from dark gray or black to when it came and it had its arm extended out into those bushes below it. Its
yeah,
arm was the same color as the bushes, but you could clearly see that.
yeah. One of the guys that that's doing a good job and having luck with the pictures, but he's also doing audio is bushwhacking with Rooster. He's getting a
Really.
lot. Yeah, he's getting a lot of good stuff. I'm able to see just about everything he posts, and he's getting a lot of good stuff. And he's up in I think Ohio or somewhere over there. But yeah, he goes out and he does a lot of video.
He does.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
A-
puts it on his group, and then he's got a TikTok too that he puts it out, and he's got some good stuff. He gets real good
And
stuff.
well, and a lot of the times too, like some of the pictures that you'll get, well, you can take screenshots off of your videos.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Yep.
actually think I did take pictures of that dog, man, the German Shepherd one. I did take pictures of that, but I taken videos first, so some of the different angles where its head was turned and stuff like that, those came from the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. It's just something that I think that's uh you got a whole group of a bunch of people that are just posting all these pictures in groups or in their group they made, and people are going in, oh, I see it, and I go in there and I'm like, man, I don't see anything. I just see a
Hmm.
big blur.
Yeah, and you
So
hate to be rude. I mean, it's not even like you're trying to be rude. Like when you address that situation, it's not like you're really trying to be rude about it. You're more or less trying to just address it and let people know the same thing that you would want to see. If you want to see a really great dogman or Bigfoot picture, then be willing to um, give that back to everybody else who's going to be using it. Like I have several pictures in my whole album of cryptid pictures, but I won't share the ones that are questionable or the ones that don't show anything good because even though I might see what's there, know what's there, it's going to be too hard to prove in some cases.
yeah, if I'm not 100%, I ain't sharing it. That's why you don't see a whole lot. I got tons and tons of evidence off my property, but if I can't say 100% that's what I'm looking at, I'm not going to even put it out there. I'm not like some of these other people who go out there and every time with their phone they snap. Oh, look at it right there. I circled it. There it is. Or look at
Yep.
here. Oh, I'm just not like that. That for one, you're gonna get putting yourself out there by putting so much bullshit across the internet. People ain't gonna want to look at your stuff no more. And that
Absolutely.
and that's as if you post every day, people are gonna be like, man, this guy must have a hot spot. But I mean, where's the GQ picture? I see a bunch of blurs that he's saying that are there. Where's the GQ picture? That's why I only post the ones I'm 100% about. And you know, and like Steve Riley said, volume over quality is what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you
All
can't be
right.
that way.
You mentioned Grassman a few minutes ago. I've heard of that, but I don't know if I've seen that. What is that exactly?
The Ohio Grassman is a Bigfoot from Ohio. This one is like a type. I think it's a type 2, and it is a real nasty Bigfoot. It doesn't play well with humans at all, at all. It's been known to chase a few. A lot of the sightings for Grassman come out of Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, and
Uh-huh.
it's chasing people out of that park, like literally chasing people out of that park.
Now, is that recent?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very recent. I had a gentleman tell me that there was a guy hunting, and it was him and his buddy. And of course, Salt Fork State Park, up there, they have public hunting land where you can, the public can go up there and hunt as long
Mm-hmm.
as you have a permit. He said he got up in the stand, and his buddy was, I think, over the valley or whatever you want to call it,
Uh-huh.
and whatever I think he said his buddy went over, and about 15-20 minutes later he heard some noise, and he said he seen this Bigfoot type creature coming at him, and his words were, it looked like he was coming to collect the rent. He was walking like dead at him with a purpose.
Uh-huh.
And this dude, not knowing what he was doing, took a shot at this Bigfoot, and he was shooting 3-inch slugs.
Oh,
He shot
wow.
this. He shot 5 times, and he hit this Bigfoot twice in the chest. And this Bigfoot was still coming. He said he heard it, but he was still trying to walk toward him and come collect that rent per se. And
Did he kill it? Did it
no,
die?
no, no, didn't kill it.
Wow.
He pissed it off, is what he did. And then
And
the gentleman that told me this story said he was camping there back in August from about 200 yards from that same spot. And he said a juvenile and what looked to be the mother come across his camping area, and they started growling at him and his wife.
mm-hmm.
And so he started growling back, kind of, to hold his ground. And they kind of, what he said, they kind of like faced him the whole time, but kind of went around the camp area and was
Mm-hmm.
growling at him the whole time, never turning their back toward him. And then they
Uh-huh.
ended up walking off, which I don't know if I believe that, but you know,
Wow.
knowing how aggressive grassmen are, but
And
each
now,
their own.
what do you know about the Janoskwa? Because I've heard that and the Gugwood being brought up a few times. Are they the same?
No, no, they're totally different. The Janoska is a Type 5 Bigfoot, and those are the ones you don't want to run across in the woods. Um, Reports, the biggest one I've heard of is probably about 12 or 13 foot and about 12 to 1,300 pounds. You're looking at about 100 pounds per foot of Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah, and they're nasty. All they eat is meat. So
And
going
so
in
are
the
they?
woods, if you run across one of these, you're on the dinner plate more or less. They're going to eat you if they come across you. They don't give a damn about firearms. They don't care. They have in their Iroquois legend, they're called Akni Yarhe, which means stone giant. So these
Mm,
Bigfoot have this sheen of mud that they roll around in, and when you roll around in mud and rocks and stones, it all sticks.
mm-hmm.
It dries up. It creates an armor. Back in the Iroquois days, when they would shoot bow and arrows, it's not like the compound bows we have now where you can just release straight off and it shoots straight. They'd have to shoot in an arch. And so when they would shoot at these Bigfoot in an arch, that arrow would just hit and just not even penetrate, just hit and bounce off and just hit the
Right.
ground.
Wow. And you hear the same thing with Dog Man too. Like people say a lot of the time that sometimes even before they even shot or if they thought about shooting, they ended up not doing it because they felt like all they were going to do is piss it off. Like it wasn't going to feel it anyway. It would only it would have been like a little bee sting to it for the most part.
You have a better chance of injuring or killing a Bigfoot than you do a dog man. And it's because of the bone structure. The dog man have like a 6 or 7 inch thoracic plate from here to here, and it's just nothing but thick bone. The Bigfoot are built different. They have, not as thick as a thoracic plate, but they have 6 to 7 inches of muscle. And those
Mm,
projectiles are going to penetrate muscle a lot easier than they will bone. So
Wow.
that's why a lot of people say when you shoot dog, man, especially in the chest, man, it didn't do nothing but piss it off. Well, that's why.
And you hear also like where people say that they know for a fact that they hit it, they see the bullets fly off of it, or they see blood shoot off of it when the bullets hit it, or that they see come off of it. But then in some cases where they, I guess, went to try to track it down and look for it, it was nowhere to be found.
Right. Well,
Now,
I've also heard. Sorry to interrupt you, but I've also heard stories of um, these dog men picking up mud, wet mud,
hmm
and packing their wounds. I've
yeah.
also heard that.
Now, Vic kind of had a encounter on his show with I think it was, I don't know if it was a lady, I can't remember now, but I think the dog man had actually come and stuck its head in her tree stand. Did you remember that
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, was the tree stand on the ground? Because I couldn't
No,
understand that.
no.
Basically,
It
the
wa- it
dog man
was
had his head in her
it
lap.
was it was up in the air. It was up in the air.
Well, how did it stick its head in her tree? I thought
Well,
it was low to the ground.
well, a lot of these tree stands, depending on what type you get, um, there's some that where you can just affix a ladder to it's a seat with a ladder that kind of arches down, and then you lean it against the tree, and then you climb up it and strap it down, which is unsafe as shit. And if that strap ever breaks and you're sitting in it, well, I hope you like a can't land on your feet because you're going to get hurt. Now they have other stands where it's two piece, and you wrap it around the tree, and then as you move up the top part, you use your legs and you bring it up, kind of like you're doing leg thrust going up, and
Yeah.
you just climb it going like that. Which shit, I'd be tired by the time I get up there. Wouldn't want to hunt, but those you can go at whatever height you want. So she may have gone 8, 9, 10 foot, and that dog man come around that tree and just seen her and be like, "Oh, hello," and you know,
hmm
and they're open, they're not enclosed. So
So I can't remember now, like, but when that dog man stuck its head in her tree stand, didn't she? What did she do right away? I think it was shocked to see her sitting in it at that time.
yeah,
Did it just? I think it just ran away, but she went back to the cabin where she was at, and somebody else was staying there with her. They went back. She hit it though, I guess, as it ran away. I think a couple of times,
yeah,
and after she hit it, she still went back to the cabin where they were staying at, and went, or the campground where they were staying, and went back and got her friend that was with her, and they went back to hunt down that body. But
yeah,
when they got further out into the woodline where that dog man had retreated into, they found, didn't they found like a chunk of its flesh, like just out in the mud?
yeah.
They found a chunk of its flesh there, like with blood and stuff around it and everything. And they seen that the dirt had been disturbed and dug up. Basically, it
Mm-hmm.
had packed its wound.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Yep,
conclusion that she had come to.
yep, yep. And that's not the first time I've heard that either. I've heard that on several occasions. I've heard Bigfoot would do that too. But I mean, like I said a while ago, though, Bigfoot are gonna be a lot easier to kill than a dogman because of their anatomy. You know, a
hmm
6, 7 inch thoracic plate versus a 2 to 3 inch thoracic plate and 6 inch of muscle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I thought it was kind of brave and ballsy of her. I was really shocked that she actually ran back out there looking for it. If it's gone away from you, if it was away from me, I'm not going to take any chances. I'm not going to run out looking for it. I mean, but I guess she was braver than me. I mean, what
Yeah,
would you have
well,
done? Would you?
she was probably a hunter. I mean,
hmm
judging by she was sitting in a tree stand, yeah, she's probably a hunter. I mean, if that was me, of course, you know me, I'm gonna track it,
hmm
and but I'm not gonna go tracking it with no compound bow or nothing like that. I'm gonna go heavy caliber, but I would have tracked it to a point if it got to where I tracked it and the foliage was just so thick I couldn't get through it, then no, I'm not going to go any further because that's asking for trouble. Because they're apex
hmm
ambush predators. They'll ambush you.
Yeah, and can you just, I mean, talk about some of that, like with them ambushing people? Like, you hear a lot of times where people say they were pacing them in the woods, or they could tell that there was one off to their right, but then at the same time, when they stop, they could still hear something moving behind them or to the left. Do you think that they already, this is how they hunt or,
Mhm.
track down prey on a regular
Yeah.
basis?
Well, it's just like with any wolf, wolves, coyotes, they're all pack hunters. You'll
Mm-hmm.
see a rogue, like I got a rogue coy wolf on my property now, and every time I see him, he's always alone. And I've got pictures of him. He's a big bastard. But those type of animals are pack hunters. So yeah, they'll ambush you, they'll flank you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had that happen to me back in April at about 10, 11 at night. It was me and my cousin. And here's the scary part. We went out there to see if we can kill a hog. We're just gonna be out there for an hour. So we enter the woods by my feeder. You've seen the pictures. We entered on
Mm-hmm.
that trail, and this is when the foliage was thick. Of course, it's springtime. The foliage was thick, so you can't really see through it. And we both had thermals. And we're looking through the woods with them thermals. And when the wood's that thick like that, them thermal imagers, especially like ATN and
Mm-hmm.
Trichicon, everything blends together when something like that is just so compound with foliage. Everything blends together. You can't really see anything unless it's either over the foliage or under it.
Absolutely.
And so we were walking in, and we went into the feeder, and we went to the right, and we went probably about 50 yards, and we decided to go back the other way. And so we start working the other way. I was on point, he was behind me, and as we're coming up on my feeder to the left, I could hear something walking in the right across the creek, probably about 30, 40 yards. And we're
Mm-hmm.
sitting there walking, and I'm listening to it. And as I stop, we really don't talk when we're in the woods. I kind of use hand gestures, so I did them like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you could hear this thing take a couple more steps, and then it stops. And so I sat there a minute, didn't hear nothing else. Started walking again, took off, real slow with about 3 paces. Didn't hear it,
Mm-hmm.
so I sped up, and to the right, it started again. So we walked a little bit, and I'm just listening to it to see if it's going to get any closer. It was just paralleling us at that point. We got about 40 yards down the trail, and then my cousin grabs the back of my shirt, which is the indicator to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And when I stopped, the footsteps on the right stopped, and he goes, "There's something behind us." And we could still hear it, and we
Mm-hmm.
heard it jump in the creek and walk across and get on the main trail. So we had one to
Wow.
the right, we had one behind us on the main trail. And, lucky me, I'm always out in the woods. I told them, whatever you do, just face it and just start backing out straight towards the feeder, out towards the field,
Absolutely.
and just back out. And so we did that, and they never came out. The one that crossed the creek never came out into the open, and the one across the creek never crossed the creek. So they were getting what they were doing. I know what they were doing. There's a crossing probably about 20 yards where we were at.
Mm-hmm.
There's a crossing through the creek where all the hogs and all the deer and even the cows go through, and it's created a packed area to where you could actually walk across the creek and not sink.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I think they were doing. They were trying to get us, flank us down that area, that creek, and that one was going to probably end up either attacking or flanking us even further into the woods where we couldn't get out. And
Now,
we never seen it on thermal either. Never seen it on thermal.
have you ever, I'm posting this to other groups while we're live because I'm like a member of like so many groups and I'm sharing it over there with them because we didn't announce it in advance. So I'm just kind of trying to get it out there. But have you ever been bluff charged by them when you've
Oh
been
yeah,
out in the field?
oh yeah. I was, and again, this was at night. I got bluff charged. Um, and the funny thing with this one is we weren't even in the woods. We were probably about at most 10 yards. I'm going to say about 6 or 7 yards from the edge of the woods, at most 10.
Mm-hmm.
And this was on the road on the edge of our property. That road goes all the way to the woods. And
Mm-hmm.
we were standing there, me and my son. It's about 10:30 at night, and we were sitting there doing tree knocks, and because a few nights before we had did tree knocks and we got responses back, and
Mhm.
so we started doing tree knocks, and then we never heard anything. So I did another set. I did 2 tree knocks, and then my son says, I don't feel right. I feel like something's fixing to happen. I feel really, really scared. He had that onset of dread. As he said
Right.
that, you could hear something walking towards us. And then it took about 4 or 5 steps when we heard the initial crunch crunch, and
Right.
it picked up the pace. And I'm like, all right, start backing up slow. Just don't turn your back to the woods. And we
Mhm.
started backing up, and it started speeding up. And I told them, haul ass. I'm right here. It's gonna have to go through me before it gets to you. And you got the keys to my truck. If anything, just
Yes.
get in the truck and haul ass. Because all I had on me was a knife. Because we had a whole bunch of equipment, cameras and audio, and I left the guns at the truck. That's too much shit to carry, and we were not in the woods anyways. And so that happened. I told him to haul ass, and I was still backing up, and then it stopped, and it stopped. I kind of slowed my pace down. I was still backing up backwards, and I had a spotlight. And so at that point, I heard what sounded like about a 45-degree angle to the right. You could hear a branch, and it sounded like whatever had a hold of it just grabbed it and just peeled it down, and you could hear the
Mhm.
bark just cracking off like crack, like a steady crack, like how you peel something and you hear that steady noise.
Yes.
That's what it sounded like. And it just came all the way off, and I started backing up. When I shined my Q beam to where that was going on, I seen a set of green eyes, big green eyes, about 9 foot in the air. Now, whether if it was in the tree or standing, I couldn't tell you, but those
Mhm.
eyes were bright as hell. And it was a good spread. They were probably about the width of my head, maybe a little more. It's
Okay.
pretty big. It's pretty big.
Well, do you think, like a lot of the times, like when it comes to cryptid encounters, whether it be Bigfoot or Dogman, do you think that a lot of the times they're just as curious about us as we are of them?
Oh
Like they're
yeah.
just there to watch for the most part, unless you come up on their territory, or they feel threatened, or they got young there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they're to me they're very curious. You hear all these stories of Dogman peeping in the windows, Bigfoot peeping in the windows, Bigfoot watching
Mm-hmm.
females, and they do other vulgar shit while they're doing that. But there's been reports of Bigfoot actually staring into a window like it was watching TV. They're curious. Um,
Yeah.
I've I've heard reports of Bigfoot stealing hand tools. They'll get, like, say you pissed them off, like steal your hand tools, like shovels, rakes, anything of length. Steal your hand tools and 3 days later bring them back. I've actually heard an account where that happened. But the guy shot at a Bigfoot. He shot in front of him to, I guess, to deter him because he was getting charged. And when he shot at him, it pissed him off. The Bigfoot started coming a little quicker. He hauled ass,
Right.
made it to his truck 15 miles to his house. And then he said that night he started
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of activity in his outside garage. He could hear a whole bunch of noise, and he was scared. He wouldn't go outside because he knew what happened. He was sleeping with his gun. The next day when he went out, all his hand tools were gone. They were like gone. And then I think he said, what was it, like two,
Mm-hmm.
at the most 3 nights later, he said they were all back, but they were all just thrown on the ground. Like, hey, this is what you did to me. I'm going to do this to you. Make your life a little bit of hell. And he said during the time those
Wow.
tools were gone, they would bang on his house. He had actually one point where they tried to open his door.
Really?
Yeah.
People don't. Some people, I'm sure most people who listen to a lot of Bigfoot, Dogman encounters and stuff like that. A lot of times, Dogman and Bigfoot. Well, of course, Bigfoot. I guess they have more human type hands, and some of the Dogmen
Mhm.
do too. But what's interesting with that is that they know to pull that door handle to open a car door, or they
Yeah.
know to twist
Yeah.
the door handle to go into the house. But you would think with the strength that they have and the abilities that they have and the I don't know what you would call it. I guess the self awareness. You would think that they would come into our houses more often, especially for those of us who have regular activity on your property. What do you think it is that keeps them? And I have my theory on it, but and y'all also in the chat, what do y'all think it is that keeps them from coming into the houses? What do you think about that, Rick?
Uh, Honestly, like you said, self-awareness. I think they know if they enter a house, they're going to be dealing with either a firearm or some kind of device that's going to deter them from the house. Um, a good thing to have around your house. And like Steve Riley just asked, do you have motion lights? Motion lights are real good to keep around your house in the country, especially if you have Bigfoot activity. I don't really know about Dogman if those lights will deter them. Never heard of that happening or them running into one, but I know for sure some Bigfoot will up and haul ass from motion lights because one, they don't want to be seen. They keep a low profile, and
Absolutely.
a lot of those new motion lights now are LED, so they're bright as shit.
Yeah, they are.
And then the self-awareness, if they do go in the home, especially if that same person shot at them, they know they're going to be dealing with a firearm.
And the scary part about it too, if you really think about it, Rick, is the fact that they know even what the firearms are. And
Mm-hmm.
just like in Scott Pace's encounter and several others, he said that when he encountered that Bigfoot and Dogman that he encountered,
Mm-hmm.
they actually told him, "Don't take that shot."
Yeah, put the rifle down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that kind of goes into, I don't know what you call that part of the woo factor. Somewhat, I guess, the telepathic speaking.
Yeah. 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 It is, and it does happen. I mean, there's a lot of people that'll downplay it. I was one of them. I was 100% flesh and blood because all my experiences were flesh and blood. But having talking with Scott Pace on a regular like I do, and him being a Christian man, a born again Christian, he's not going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you something that's going to be bullshit. He's going to tell you the truth. And he has told me that I open up myself to God, and he does tell me things, and I feel it in my heart, and I go with it, and it happens. Those things do come true. Now, with him having the encounter that he did, I take it at face value, and that face value is he's telling the 100% truth that they spoke to him telepathically. And you hear a lot of people getting spoke to like that, and for what reason, I don't know. But some people are more sensitive to that than others. It's kind of like psychic mediums. They're real sensitive to certain aspects of paranormal
Mm-hmm.
or stuff like that. So they're able to, have past loved ones talk to them, if they
Right.
go in and do an investigation of someone who has paranormal activity. Uh, Honestly, to me, that's opening up a door. But I mean, if that's what you're willing to do and deal with, hey, that's more power to you. I'm not one that's not really wanting to open up them doors because if you do that, trying to talk to these things, then something else may come through that you may not want and may not get rid of.
Absolutely. Now, on the woo factor, on the fact that one of the things that's brought up is cloaking,
Mm-hmm.
and cloaking can be done in several different ways. Whether they, I don't know what to say, cloaking. You got camouflaging, which they just basically surround themselves with the foliage, the trees, the limbs, and all that kind of stuff, the grass around it, and it's usually tall, and they a lot of the times you'll catch them because they're the darkest thing in the photo, or the darkest thing in your line of vision if you're looking at them with the naked eye. You'll see them standing there. Now, when you take pictures, what you seen with your naked eye may not be the exact same thing that you got when you got it on camera. And a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the times I've seen where it looks sometimes like there's different faces overlapping other faces, and that can be confusing too. But when it comes to looking at these creatures, like when I was talking about the cloaking aspect, the other one that I call the predator effect, basically
Yeah.
it kind of looks like a mirage,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
some people call it a shimmer.
Yeah, Scott Pace sent me a picture of something like that walked right in front of him while he was videoing, and it messed up his phone.
Really?
Yep. Matter of
So,
fact, I think I could show it to y'all if y'all want to see it.
Some people actually think that it's their hair, their fur that has that capability. And I can't remember how. If any of you have heard this before, that's out there in the audience, then y'all just basically give your comments on this. What do you think? What gives them ability to cloak? Do you think it's their fur, or do you think that they're just a supernatural being? Some people think that they're interdimensional. What do you guys think about that? What are you getting ready to show them now?
I'm trying to find Scott Pace's picture. Okay, I'll I'll have to look it up a different way. Let
Okay.
me but so to go back what you're saying with the cloaking, um with the hair, yes, there is something with their hair. Now, Dogman, I don't know if this is the same thing happening with them, but
Mhm.
Bigfoot have thousands of clear fluorescent hairs on their body with the brown, black, or whatever other color hair they have. And that contributes to a lot of uh, one, them being able to either cloak or camouflage. Another thing that contributes to them being able to cloak and camouflage is their natural hair. And this was done by Mark Zasky in his not his interview, his documentary. And and that's probably the best Bigfoot documentary there is out there. Um, if
Mhm.
you go and watch that documentary, it's called Bigfoot: A Hidden Reality. They break it down how they do it. They get uh, a Sasquatch hair that they got out of the field and they
Okay.
put it under a microscope. Okay, and what they did is they got
Mhm.
different spectrums of light, like real bright, real dark. And what they came to the conclusion of is when you pull light completely away from that
Mhm.
hair turned green, different shades of green. And it's in the video. They actually show this footage on the documentary. And when you put light back to the hair, it turns its natural color. So
Okay.
that to me that's one of the ways that they're able to they're able to cloak and camouflage. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, that's my
Well,
opinion. It may not be true, but I mean, given that Mark Zasky put that evidence out there, I kind of believe it.
and to say comments, they're in the woods 24/7, 365, and know how to hide. Plus, he believes that they're here too. I feel like they're flesh and blood and supernatural at the same time because I know that they do eat. I know that they do have young. I don't know if there's two different types or if there's like one and the same, or some of them have those, some don't. But I do know that there is definitely a supernatural aspect to them. I know in Dr. Melba Keltram's studies, and she did her genealogy. What was it? Research on these
Big
creatures,
Bigfoot
DNA.
genealogy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that came back as part and part. What was it? Part eight, part human, and part unknown. So it makes you question what is that unknown, because there
Yeah.
are people who feel like, well, the Nephilim theory is ridiculous and they were regular human giants. But, if you really study the Bible or the book of Enoch, they were also creating chimeras with animals as well.
Yeah.
So the book of Enoch and the book of Jasher has some stuff on that, and some of the other books that have been taken out. So when you just really get down to it and look into it, there's a lot of different aspects they have. They're able to speak telepathically. Apparently, people have talked about Bigfoot and orbs. To me, the orbs thing, I think that that's really strange. I don't know what to make of that, and I'm not discounting anybody's experiences because I believe it's possible. But I just want to know, like, basically on that, how do you think that they're able to do that? Do you think that that's now interdimensional? What would you say about that? Or do you think it's something completely different that's just right there with Sasquatch?
Honestly, I think it's just something completely different that's right there with Sasquatch. I mean,
Me too.
like I've told you, all these people that say, I've seen Bigfoot come through a portal halfway in, halfway out, and then haul ass. Show me your proof.
Really?
Yeah, show me your proof. If you can't show me your proof, then I can't believe you. I can't say that that's what's happening. And I will stick to that until someone does bring it up and say, look, here's a picture. And I see a
Hmm.
Bigfoot taking that big step into a portal and looking back saying, hey, buddy, I'm out. Then, yeah, I'll change my theory. But if you're going to say that they're interdimensional, this is happening, you got to have the proof
Hmm.
to back it up. Because if you don't, then you're people going to look at you even crazier than what you are saying you see Bigfoot.
Absolutely. Because everybody in this, just the regular random average everyday person, whether they're just regular like you and me and Rick, people see these things, and even researchers and so-called professionals in the field, they also get a lot of scrutiny and backlash. And if any of you who are out there watching this now, or if you're watching this video after the live is over, and you in any of these cryptic groups, you'll see a lot of the times that there's a lot of issues that people have with wanting to share their pictures. They don't want to share their pictures or videos they have, because a lot of times they get scrutinized, and scrutiny is welcome, but not when they feel like they're being attacked, or not when they feel like that somebody's trying to say that they're lying about their experience. So to me, it's just you have to be careful who you talk to, even if it's your own family. I get
Yeah,
ridiculed about my dogman encounter all the time. So I'll try to play it off and believe, in some cases act like I don't even believe they exist, or that the conversation never came up.
here's the picture that Scott Pace sent me that he took of what supposedly was some kind of shimmer, and you could see
I see that.
if you look all along this area here where my cursor is, and you go around and you look at the very edges of it, you can see a distortion, but
Hmm.
everything outside of that is crystal clear.
Absolutely. So there's
So
something large and tall, taller than was it?
no,
You say that was a trail camera, or was he holding his phone, or what was that?
no, he was holding his phone. He was taking a video.
Can you post that in the group to Rick, and
Yep.
or we can post it in there after the show, because I wanted to just basically let people see that picture so they can kind of look at an example of what the cloaking effect looks like. And just for y'all's information, what Rick just showed you would be an example of what I would call the predator effect.
Yeah.
Is that, and then there's another movie too I've seen. I can't remember. It was one of those X-Men movies where you had that guy who was clear or cloaked like that.
Mm-hmm. But just
So
think
it's
about it.
interesting.
Just think about it. Remember the Predator movie, the very first one that came out. You remember how that thing bended light and you couldn't see it, right? And it
Hmm.
was all up in them trees. Where do you think they got that idea from? They
That's
had to get
probably,
they had to get it from somewhere.
I agree, and I'm thinking that's probably where they got that from. It had to do with cloaking, because I don't believe they could see
Mhm.
that thing. But my thing on it is for the whole situation as far as Bigfoot is concerned is very confusing, and Dogman as well. But I'm just also wondering with that, how do you make sense of the fact that a lot of times they pretty much ignore us for the most part, or they shy away because of their size alone. I don't see why that they would need to try to hide. I mean, what would be the purpose of that?
Well, one, not to be seen because one, they are shy, and two, um, clan Bigfoots, it's like a hierarchy. It's all every Bigfoot answers to an alpha,
Hmm.
and then every female answers to an alpha female. So if a Bigfoot is actually seen when it's not supposed to, he has to face that alpha, whether it be take a beating or he may get kicked out of the clan and then at that point become a rogue. But
Hmm.
and this is just what I've been told, and it kind of makes sense because there are some rogue Bigfoots out there, and
Hmm.
that's why a lot of times you may see one. Todd Standing is an example of that. He walked up on a what did he call it? It's not like a den, but a retreat area where they actually all sleep and
Hmm.
live. And if you watch his videos, he walked up on a day walker or a day watcher, and it was just sitting there watching. And the only reason that Bigfoot was alerted to him in the area was one little bitty old bird just chirping right above him, chirp, 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 chirp.
Really?
And yeah, and the reason why I'm saying that because it makes sense. Every time I go out, it could be dead ass quiet in the woods, and I always have one bird following me. One bird.
Really? Like a
Mm-hmm.
little alarm system.
Yep.
And I think it's strange about how the woods go completely silent. Also, no, I've never been in the woods. I've been in the woods once. I went with my husband before during hunting season, and it was pretty quiet out there at the end. But still, you could hear some kind of crickets and stuff like that. Nothing ever went completely silent. But have you ever experienced that?
Yep. I got a video on YouTube. I did an investigation at the beginning of February when I was out changing batteries in my trail cam, and
Mm-hmm.
I always carry my 4K camera with me. I carry certain stuff with me on my side by side when I go out. And I was changing batteries, and I noticed it was just like real quiet. Like you could have heard a pin drop. There was a slight breeze. So I got done. I got my camera, and I got on the main trail and kind of set up a 45 away from my trail camera on the main trail, and I started filming, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just so damn quiet. And so I was
Wow.
that area for about 8 or 9 minutes, and then I went probably about 100, 125 yards down the trail and set up, and it was still quiet. As I set up, I set the camera up as I had it in my hand, push record, and as I was setting it down, there was a big bird, probably about 50 yards off in a tree, and that son of a gun went ape shit. He just started sounding off, and he did that for about 2 or 3 minutes, just sounding off. And during this whole time I'm filming, when I first sat down, the first eight
Mm-hmm.
minutes till then, I was capturing vocalizations off in the distance.
Well, it's just I've heard people say a lot of the times about them cloaking, not cloaking. I was going to mention what you were just talking about with the what was that last sentence you said? I completely forgot. I was trying to go somewhere with
well,
your point.
well, that bird was sounding off, and so that bird was sounding off, and I'm sitting there like this is a damn bird. I'm not gonna be able to hear anything. Well, the mic on my
Right.
camera, I can go to plus 20 decibels, so it can get real loud, and that's
Mhm.
where I had it set. And I was filming, and I was panning to my right towards that bird. And what was crazy is you couldn't hear nothing but that bird. And as I panned to the left, I had a vocalization sound off behind me, and it was like a wah. And I heard
Right.
it with my ears, but it was real low. On the camera, you could hear it good. And then after that, probably about another 2 minutes, that bird flew off. Once that bird flew off, you could hear all the other little birdies and grasshoppers and
Mhm.
everything come alive.
Wow. Now, you know, I've seen in the chat earlier, Marquetta was talking about owls and stuff like that, and you were talking about the bird chirping, and it just made me think about like how a lot of the time they say that Bigfoot can mimic other animals. Like I've heard people say a lot about them mimicking owls, but it sounds like this gigantic owl, like huge, like it doesn't even make sense. It just something about it just doesn't sound right.
I had that happen too.
Really?
When I during archery season, I set up. It was my first day of archery season. I went up to my stand and I had a stand set up about 35 yards from my feeder at an angle, so I wasn't far from the woods. And this was in the evening time. I had two doe come out. Uh, I pulled back, shot one, stuck her good. She took off through the woods. It was already almost completely dark. So I had to go get in my side by side, go back to my truck, about 200 yards off, grab my rifle, come back, go
Mm-hmm.
in and track her. So I tracked her all the way to where I caught that vocalization where the big bird was sounding off.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a hard time because one, it was dark, and two, there wasn't a whole lot of blood because I guess she was hauling ass. I finally found a big blood spot on the ground where I seen it was all disturbed, big blood spot. And it had to have been a liver shot because it was really dark blood, but no deer. It's like she poof gone.
Yeah, that's what I was
So
about to
yeah,
bring
so
up.
I
Yeah.
kept looking all the way around that area for about another 30 minutes trying to find any disturbance, any blood, and nothing. She just flat out disappeared. And as I got through finishing, I started hearing an owl pop off, and another one pop off, and then another one popped off at a different frequency, and you could hear it. It was like real low, and it sounded huge. I'm like, ain't no owl, and it started doing the whole owl. Started out
Mhm.
like an owl, and then it started sounding off like how maybe like a monkey would do, like it's talking to another one.
Right.
And that went on for about 45 seconds. And at that point, I was like, well, I ain't found my deer, and I probably know who has it now. So I'll just back on out, and I left. And that's not the first time I've heard that either. I've heard that on several occasions. I actually got it on recording off my
Mhm.
night vision scope, but it's real hard to hear because you got the cicadas behind me that were just going off. Like it was, they were all going off. But the noise at
Mhm.
the woods, you couldn't hear nothing, but you could hear them owls start popping off, and then you could hear them other ones popping off at a different frequency, and then they started chattering.
In the comments, Renita Kaczynski said in 2006 she was traveling east to Parcel, North Dakota, where she worked night shift. She said, "I'm a LPN and I was 5 miles out of town when I seen this creature along Highway 23. It was all black with yellow amber eyes."
Hmm.
How tall was or how large was it, Renita? What you say? She said it looked like it had a hump on its back and it just stared as she drove by. So, how big would you say that was? I believe people see these things way more than they actually
Oh
think.
yeah.
A lot of the times they're out there and they're just looking like a tree, or they know how to remain completely still and not move at all.
Yeah.
And when they do move, they move quickly. He said that the Bigfoot that he saw at 14 feet tall, he said was 4 or 5 feet wide, like across the chest. He and
Yeah,
his
they get
cousin were out
massive.
there, and I just thought that was shocking. Huh?
They say the Grafton Monster there in West Virginia. They call it the headless horror, and it's a lot of people said when you look at this thing, if you see it, it's all you see is nothing but shoulders, and then like where the shoulders come up and where the head's supposed to be, it just goes straight across. And
Mm-hmm.
they said that thing is like 5 or 6 foot across the shoulders. Well, that thing there is huge. They said it's about, I've heard like 8 foot tall, 9 foot tall, but
Oh wow.
this thing is it's deformed, and so the head sits in the chest. It's got some kind of birth defect, and it's a meat eater.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that it's a deformed gugway, which I don't know. There's not enough picture evidence of the head and the face to actually come to that conclusion, but um, it's a pretty nasty creature. And when she said it had a hump, that's what I think of because it has that hump on the back, and then it comes up to the top, and then it's just flat across, and the head just sits in the chest.
And I wondered, like, could it possibly been a dog man too? Because a lot of times people sometimes say that that mane also looks like it has a hump.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like that thickness in the fur.
yeah. And if it was pissed off, a lot of times that mane on the back will stand up, just like a
Yeah,
dog. Just like a dog when it gets mad, you'll see some of the hair kind of stick up. That's
yeah.
a
I was
possibility.
wondering. Well, with the dog man, I was wondering if that hump in the back has anything to do with the fact that it's double jointed, that it can go from all fours and then stand up on upright. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense
Yeah,
at all?
yeah. Because if you think about it, because if they're standing up, their head's in a different position. When they go on all fours, their
Exactly.
head's got to come back back a little further. So yeah, that would make sense. That would make a
And
whole
I
lot of
just
sense.
I just now thought about that because it just, I don't know, it's crazy. Um, Let me see. I've got other stuff that I wrote down here too. We already covered cloaking. Um, the Nephilim theory on, and just touch on that real quick. As far as the Nephilim theory and the DNA research that Melba Ketchum done, half human, half animal, and half part human, part animal, part unknown. Now that unknown, my question on that is, like somebody, that basically I think Nugi had mentioned this. He said, "Well, who's ever had a Nephilim body that they were able to actually say that it's a Nephilim? How do you know that that unknown isn't just an unknown, undiscovered animal?"
Show me the proof.
But then when you ask them to show the proof of their DNA research, they don't show that either.
They don't want it to get out.
Well, they basically destroyed her career over it once she started
Hmm.
releasing that stuff. From what I've
And why?
heard, I mean,
And why did they do that? Think
they
about
didn't
it.
want that out there.
She was on to something.
She was.
Yep, she was on to
Now,
something.
you know, you remember when Jeff did the show not too long ago, and we can go to some of their comments in a few minutes. But Jeff did one of the shows, one of his episodes, where that creature, I think this is in Pennsylvania, it was an unknown creature. This lady had found it, and she didn't know what it was. The veterinarians, nobody knew what it was. They thought it could be like a coyote or a coy wolf. I mean, but they were saying it was an unknown canine. And it was small and emaciated looking and just really tiny. It looked helpless. I mean, so what ended up happening, I think they were able to get DNA studies or get, DNA from this particular animal, but it ended up, I don't know if it was that same night or the next day, it ended up getting out of that facility. Like they said, the whole vet hospital was trashed. Like
Hmm.
something came in there and just tore everything up. And that little emaciated creature, they said, was able to eat through the windshield of the vet hospital, and basically it escaped. This thing was about the size of like a small coyote or something, or a pup, or at least
Could
if
have been
nothing
a
else, maybe a
juvenile.
dog.
Could have been a
Or
juvenile. And
did you didn't
the
see the
mama,
video?
uh,
You got to check that out. It's crazy.
yeah, yeah.
It did have the
There's,
amber eyes.
yeah. I have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, some people actually were saying that, look at it, just didn't look right. It basically was hairless. It had like sparse hair on its body, pretty much like had just like a nude type look to it. But to
Mhm.
me, that whole theory, the fact that it ate through the windowsill, I just feel like, and I know Jeff had originally thought this himself. He had mentioned the fact that he thought that the mother dog man came looking for her baby.
Could have been.
That little thing would have been able to destroy that vet hospital like that by itself. Stuff was thrown
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. It had to been an adult come in there if that's what it was. I mean,
Hmm.
who's to say it? You know, I mean, who's to say this creature was an unknown hybrid and the mama came looking for it, or
Hmm.
who's to say someone came in, trashed the place to make it look obvious, and they just took the
Hmm.
creature.
And a lot of people probably don't know this either, but like, everybody's thinking that you had to bring in a body in order to prove the existence of Bigfoot or Dogman or any other cryptid. You got to bring in a body, but 9 times out of 10, when you even if you were to shoot and kill one on your property, the government or these secret agencies are going to come in and they're going to confiscate whatever pictures that you've got in your phone or your computer. They're going to wipe all that, and in a lot of cases, people get threatened to not tell what they saw. They'll tell them you saw this or you saw this or that, and basically tell them don't talk about it. Or the report that'll be put out in the media or in the news will basically be completely different from what the eyewitness actually experienced.
Yeah.
That's not gonna. They don't want it to get the light of the day. I don't think.
No.
I think at this point it would take a mass sighting, and probably it would have to be live and up close and personal for it to even be taken seriously. But even in a situation like that, I think that they would come up with some answer saying this was just a movie reel or this was a hoax that was somebody in suit. They're still not going to let that go. They're still not going to
No,
let it
no,
come
no,
to
no,
fruition.
absolutely not. And a lot of people say it's to prove these creatures exist, it's going to take a body. No, it's going
Mm-hmm.
to take a body to get the government to say they exist. Because if you come in with a body and it goes viral, and say it hits the news media outlet first before the government even catches wind, then they're going to have to come out and say, yeah, that's a dog man, that's a Bigfoot. Or they're going to be so freaking naive, oh, they just killed a damn big bear in Texas where there's no bears that habitate there. And that's probably what they'll try and say. But a lot of us in the group know what these things look like, have seen them. They're not going to pull the wool
Mm-hmm.
over our eyes. The general public, maybe yes, but you know,
Oh yeah, they're not going to let it out there. But now, at the same time, they also kind of have let you know to a lesser degree, because if you just get out there and you look up some information on this, I know the state of Washington and I think New York State actually have in their laws that it's illegal to kill a Bigfoot.
mm-hmm.
So just for the simple fact that that's even written into their law, they wouldn't. That's like saying, you know, it's illegal to kill a dragon. They're basically letting you know that these things are real, but
They're
they're
out
not. They didn't make that public though. A lot of people don't know. They've already pretty much admitted to this.
there. Oh yeah, yeah. They think they're doing it so subtly, but it's like how people have put them signs out in the Sam Houston Bigfoot crossing area. Stay out of this area. Bigfoot's been seen crossing through here. Whatever. Some people say it's fake. Some people say it's not. Well, take it at worst case scenario, it's real. Don't go crossing through there. You know,
Hmm.
it's just the way I see it. If they're putting out stuff like that, then it's for a reason.
Are they? So is that being put out by pranksters, or is that being put out by like people, I guess, who work in that park? What do you think?
I've heard both scenarios. It's pranksters. It's the park rangers. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's not gonna. Honestly, it's someone like me, you, or everybody else that goes out into the field. It's not going to keep us from going. If anything, it's going to make us go to that particular spot.
You are absolutely right. I was just
Yep.
responding to Holly. Now, I did want to say basically when it comes to these creatures, no matter what, when you go out there in the woods and when you go out hunting or hiking or you go to these national parks, try to stay together with a lot of people and, make sure that you're safe and you have like a whole plan in place just in case you do have a sighting. You're not going out there expecting it, but you never know these days. Go out and be prepared. And I think one thing that David Pilates had mentioned on his missing 411, some of the things that people could do when you go out, have on like one of those orange vests or whatever, so you can be seen. Take you a track phone out there because a lot of times your phone doesn't work the deeper you
Yeah.
go into the woods.
A
So,
GPS beacon.
mm-hmm, all of that. And even before you leave to go home to do your research or leave to go hiking or camping, make sure you let your family know and plenty of other friends and family know where you are and let them know you made it there safe and let them know if they need to contact anybody in case they don't hear from you by a certain time. That's
Yep.
just that way you've already covered all your bases with that.
Yep. The best thing I can say is if you're near a river, always follow that river because all rivers flow south. And that'll give you a direction. And plus, these creatures are seen near the rivers anyway, so that's where you're going to want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So try not to deter away from the river if you're near one. In which,
As,
in my area, there's rivers galore, so they all flow
mm-hmm.
south. So
And I was going to say, it kind of reminds me too, like of the whole missing 411 or missing hunters. That was one of the things that, one of the specific titles that David Pilates had on his video, missing hunters. And I haven't done any statistical research to find out exactly how many missing hunters there are. I know he also did missing bow hunters, but it's scary to think that while you're out there hunting, you're also being hunted. You know?
mhm.
It's just a scary thought. Do you think that some of the missing 411 has anything to do with Bigfoot or Dogman in the area?
uh, yeah, and not just that, but a whole array of other stuff too. Not all of them are, I could say, are being taken by cryptids. Some of them just end up climbing up a mountain or going hunting in a place, and a lot of them are elderly, and if if they have dementia or haven't been diagnosed with dementia and they have a new onset of it, then they're going to wander off and they're not going to know where they're at, and you're not going to find them. And we get cases like that all the time where I work, that elderly people with dementia go missing and no one knows where the hell they went.
Mm-hmm.
And they're hard to find. They're hard to find.
Let me see, Rick. Will you post Holly's question up there? Has anyone heard of a dog man throwing something against the side of a house or hitting the side of the house, or it's just limited to Bigfoot? I
I've
haven't
heard
heard
I've
anything.
I've heard of them hitting the side of the house but not throwing anything. That's not to say they don't do it, but I've never heard of them say anything of a dog man throwing anything. Now Bigfoot will definitely throw something at you. Mostly rocks. if you
Mm-hmm.
if you get up into West Virginia and mess with them bigger clans like the Yahoo clan, the
Mm-hmm.
Yahoo clan of West Virginia, they'll throw trees at you. They don't like people at all, and they're not afraid to throw a tree on top of you.
All right, Rick. I guess like can we before we go any further, did you want to go ahead and start presenting some of those videos that you showed everybody?
Yep, yep. So the first one, let me see. Hold on. Go to share. See if I remember how to do it. Good night. Share screen. There we go. Chrome tab. All right, this first one. This first one is a pretty good video. I've seen it a couple of times, and these guys are in the woods. They're actually look like they were either fixing to hunt or they got done with a hunt, and they happen to see something and they pull up their phone, and they actually catch something. So I'm gonna play it. If you should hear the sound. If you don't, put it in the comments and I'll restart it. But
Okay.
check it out. See what y'all think.
What's the last GPS?
Our last GPS was, I think, 4.6 is what I
So we're 4.6 from the truck, and that's the closest road. I'm coming down here. I'm beat. Get my gear off. Get ready to eat. All of a sudden, Eric's like, "Oh my gosh, big bear, big bear!" I grab my bow. I raise up. I look down the hill, and it is the freaking tallest bear walking on two legs I've ever seen in my life. But the moment I realize, I'm like, I turn to get Eric to turn on the camera. He's already filming at that point.
Yeah, I didn't get pushed on play until.
But when did you realize it wasn't a bear?
Well, when I realized it wasn't a bear, when we were sitting here and with the foliage and everything, the undergrowth here, it looked like a bear because all I seen was the brown coming through. But then as I got the camera and stood up and you grabbed your bow, when it stopped right there at that pine. When it stopped at that pine right next to us, it stared at us, which seemed like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was staring back for a long time. At that point, I knew it wasn't a bear. Give me the camera. Oh. Eric, get out. Get my bow. Get out. Eric, come here. Where's my bow? Oh my god. I tripped. Oh my god, I tripped. What was that? I told you that wasn't a freaking bear.
What was that?
It wasn't a bear.
Oh my God.
Listen. Shh. Listen. Oh, shit. Did you get it?
I don't even know what that was.
Did you get it on film?
Yeah. I got it on film. I know I got it on film before you took the camera away from me. You ripped that camera out of my hand.
I fell down, man. He was hauling butt.
I tripped over a log back there myself.
That was not a bear, I'm telling you. That was not a freaking bear.
What was it? No way. What was that?
I'm telling you.
I've never seen anything.
Where's the record on this thing? I'm gonna watch it. Where's the thing? Here. Let me see. Let's play.
But when I got up and I caught that little glimpse right down there in that canyon, I could see him running, and that was running. It had to have been running at least 2 to 3 times faster than I can run, and I can run fast. But I've never seen anything run that fast in my life.
Freaking awesome.
That's awesome. So who knows? Maybe we'll get another shot at it.
Yeah. Tim, big bear. Yeah, big bear.
I don't know what it was. I really don't.
All right. I want to look at the footage one more time.
Give me the camera. Give me the camera. Give me the camera.
So what y'all think about that?
So when it was really tall, it was really black. What were they doing at the time, like right before that? Like what was happening then? How did the guy just happen to have his camera already out? Was he already recording, or what happened with that?
So apparently they had seen what they thought was a bear, and a lot of hunters, what they do is they'll record their hunt. And
Okay.
so what they were doing was actually recording their hunt. And as they were sitting there and they seen this thing on 2 legs, he actually caught it come out and just peek around. And you can see it peek around and look, and then it starts walking off. And that's when the guy said, "Give me the camera," and he takes off after it.
Wow.
That guy there had a bold brass of cojones, man, to go, go running after that, and he never seen one or didn't know what it was. I mean,
Absolutely. I wonder, did he actually think? Did he know what it was? Almost makes me wonder. Did he think that? But I thought he was running away at first. That's crazy.
no, he was trying to parallel it. I think what it looked like. He kind of went in and hooked a right, I guess, to try and parallel it to get a better picture. But at that point, they said it went down a valley and hauled ass.
Well, I just wondered the final outcome that somebody. Okay, so I thought that was pretty interesting footage, and the fact that they caught that in real time. So, do you think that would have been easily explainable for anybody to say, "Well, that was just a man in a costume"?
Yeah. One, they're gonna go off his reaction because they're gonna say, there's no one that's gonna go chasing after this thing and try and film it better. But
Mm-hmm.
90% of videos you see, a lot of people either parallel it or go towards it just a little bit to try and get a better picture or video of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
But you know,
just to say their reaction to it, oh, that's fake. You can't really go
hmm
by that.
well, when you see stuff like that and people recording, and then you have all these stories of, like the I was saying before, the missing hunters or missing bow hunters. You know, a lot of times nobody's recording, and then when they're not recording, you don't actually see what actually happened to them. This
Yeah.
could have just as easily been one of those times where these guys just never saw the light of day again. Nobody would have ever known except for if they found their camera footage. And a lot of
Yep.
the times, in some cases, the camera footage and the camera or the phone never gets found, or it's either smashed up.
Yep. Yep.
I just thought that was
Some
interesting.
Blair Witch type stuff there.
Right. So
Uh,
let's see.
the second one I'm gonna play, and this one is rare. The picture is rare as hell, like rare, and then there's actual video, which you're not gonna find any video existence of this type of Bigfoot anywhere. I think this is maybe the only one in existence, and I'm fixing to show that one to you. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about a Type 4 Bigfoot, which is a Gugway. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's really good. And this is courtesy of MVTV. And he puts out some good stuff. So check it out, see what y'all think. And we'll get back to you. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's like 11 minutes long. But actually, I'll let's see. We'll get to the meat and potatoes. Because he leaves his captions up to a long time. All right, here we go. You can see the square right down here.
And that's the Beast of Seven Shoots.
That's the Beast of Seven Shoots.
And y'all, you should really definitely Google that image of the Beast of Seven Shoots. It's a very interesting. Shoots is Chutes. Check that out. That thing is massive. It's massive. It kind of looks like a baboon by the face.
It does. That's typical Gugway features. And if you look,
And it's got a cone head.
It's carrying food.
Yeah, some people were saying that was a small dog, and some people were saying that that was a rabbit that it was carrying.
It's something. And that's typical with Gugways, that they carry food around with them.
Is this another picture now?
That's the same picture, just really zoomed in.
What do you think it's holding?
I don't know. It's holding something of considerable size.
Now that face looks like a dog face. You see that?
It's baboon to me.
Yeah, like, a baboon, but it has a snout. It's just, wow.
Yeah, baboons have snouts.
I'd like to know the story on that. What happened after that person recorded that? Did they say anything about whether they just walked away?
He never knew he recorded it until he got home.
Wow.
Get to the video part. So this is a video of them putting a human there for reference.
Oh, wow. And it was looking up at him. Looks like.
Yep. They seen him. And this shot, this is a lot closer shot. That shot there they projected it at about 300 yards.
How tall do you think that is? Like 12 feet, 14 feet tall?
Probably about 7 foot.
It's huge, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Just that there's not just one of them. Like, it got here some type of way, so there's more of those out there somewhere.
Yep.
It's scary.
Yep. And that's another Bigfoot that if you run across into the woods, you're on the dinner plate. They're very, very, very aggressive.
Wow. This is crazy.
Yeah, he did a real good job at enhancing these photos.
Yeah, that's real good. Now I kind of want to take a screenshot of that after this video is all over with. And I think there's close-up pictures too. Like I said, y'all check that out online. Steve Rollins said, "Could it be a dog man wearing a hide?"
Anything's possible. I mean, you know, um, I know this that creature does exist because that's not the first time it's been seen, but that's the first time there's ever been a picture of it.
Wow. Okay.
And if you want to, let's see, hold on. I got a. Let's see. Let me go
Check your
down.
messenger when you get a chance. Right.
All right. Uh, and this is. Let me share it. And this is what a artist depiction of a Gugway looks like. And if you look at
Mm-hmm.
that and the Beast of Seven Shoots, it's almost the same.
Wow. I wonder, like I've always wondered, where do these things actually live? Because they're too big, they're too tall. I mean, I'm not saying that how many numbers there are of them out there, but they're too big and they're way too tall to just not be seen. Do you
Yeah.
think that they live underground, or what do you think?
No, I just think they live in uninhabited deep wood areas. Janosquas, they live in areas that man can hardly get to. Uh, Gugway
Mm-hmm.
the same way. I mean, they're deep, deep. You see where this one was at? That's in Quebec, in Canada, and the terrain up there is rough, real rough.
Wow.
And this guy's on a cliff, and you see old boy down there holding his food at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's some rough terrain.
Wow.
Rough terrain. Um, the next one, um, I'm gonna move. I got two more Bigfoot videos, but the next one I'm gonna show is something a little different, and y'all tell me what y'all think it is. I already know what people are gonna say, uh, and I'm gonna say maybe you're right, but just keep an open mind and see what y'all think this is. This was shot in Spain.
Okay.
Let's see right here. All right, here we go. Back it up a little bit.
Es la última batería que me queda. Tío, tío, es que esto por flipar, ¿eh?
Claro, esto le como la cámara, tío, que es de kilómetros.
Mira.
Me cago en Dios.
Es que, tío, yo qué sé, tío, se llaman plumas, tío. ¿No o no?
Eso boca en el suelo.
Toma, tío, ja veu si és en l'instrument. Claro, des de fa rato que és en l'instrument. Que sí, collons, que sí, tia. Escolta. Ho sents o no? Puta, tio.
Yeah.
Va, corre, llavors, tia, va!
I've seen that one before. That's a
Yep.
very, very interesting. Look how it looks like a skeleton. It's all
Mm-hmm.
skin and bones. Look how long its arm is.
Puta, tio. Va, corre, llavors, tia, va!
Talk about some scared ass Spaniards.
Yeah, I could never go back in the woods again after that. I don't think I could go outside after dark after that happened.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that video is called the Fallen Angel of Spain.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
The interesting part, what made them call that a fallen angel? What do they know that we don't know?
That's a good question. Well, I mean, it come from Spain, and Spaniards and Hispanics of descent or Catholics, and they believe deeply if they see something of the sort. It could
Right.
be a fallen angel, it could be a demon. So,
Absolutely.
that's a creepy one.
It's very creepy.
It to me it kind of built mimics a rake.
Well, what does the rake look? I mean, I've seen the rake too, but what do you think? I mean, what differentiates it from that? What is the difference from other videos you've seen like that one?
Kind of the head. The rake has such a shorter, I guess. Um, doesn't have like an elongated jaw. It's much shorter. This one looked like it
Hmm.
had like a longer, like a jaw feature. But I mean, who
Yeah,
knows? I mean, it could have been bred with something else, or who knows what the hell it is.
it's interesting though.
Yep, yep. I know they ran. They ran like a son of a gun. Probably a good thing they did too, because I hear them rakes are nasty.
Yeah, they are.
All right, the next one, talk about cloaking. Let's see, which one is this? This one. Talk about cloaking. Here's a cloaking video, and this one's kind of long, but I'm gonna try and get to the meat and potatoes of it. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see. All right, we'll start right here. All right, check this one out. See what y'all think. See if this is cloaking or not.
Hmm. I can say that already.
Yep, you'll see circles come up where he circles it, and it'll go by kind of slow. But check this out.
Is this a video now, Rick, or is this a
Now it's a video.
clip?
It's a video.
Hmm. Kind of has a fog-like look or smoke type effect to it. The blurriness that he's showing, and apparently it's something else closed right up in front of the camera as well. And I actually think there's more than one thing here.
There is.
Wow.
Yeah, in that
Yeah.
video, if you watch the whole entire thing, for those of y'all that want to go check out MVTV, man, go check out his stuff. He's got some good stuff.
Yeah.
You could actually hear the mama grunt and kind of yell, trying to get the people with the camera's distraction off the juvenile. So I'm probably about 70-80% that's probably real. Now the cloaking, mm, I can't say it was cloaking. I would have to say it was just blending in with the foliage, maybe moving its face in and out of the leaves, because you could see the leaves moving, and then like it just kind of appears and it's the same color as the leaves, and then it disappears. To me, it just looks like it's backing in and out. I've played this video. I put it in Adobe, and I've gone quarter-second frame at a time, and it looks like it backs on out then backs on in. So yeah, if it's cloaking, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. To me, it looks like it's just moving in and out. The next video is a really good one. MBTV, and this is like a real close up of a Bigfoot, and it looks like an old Bigfoot. And take a look at this one, see what y'all think. I'm gonna get it to the good part, and we'll play it for a little while. Let's see. Where's it at? I will start it from here. All right, guys, check this one out. See what y'all think, and we'll go to the chat after that and see what y'all think. So what y'all think about that one? Whoever that was got real close to that. Real close. That is some of the closest footage I've seen, and if you look at the characteristics of that Bigfoot, you notice it's kind of whitish, grayish, which tells you that is a older Bigfoot. And like he said in the text on there, there's a chance it probably didn't hear who was filming him, or probably didn't care. But as just like humans, as we age, our hearing gets a little worse. Probably the same with the Bigfoot. And being that one was gray and and white, and it was probably such an older Bigfoot. So pretty good little footage. For some of the new members that are on here, I'll show you some of the stuff real quick before we stop the show. Some of the stuff that I've gotten, just to show you some of the evidence that I do put out there. Get to my screen. And one of the ones I've gotten here recently, and I've sent it to a few well-known people, is this one here. And I've got circles around what's there. And this was taken on a day back in September. May have been the last few days of September. I was videoing, and I did 3-minute videos. I was doing it with my phone. And the first 3 minutes of those videos, I got onto the game trail, and within about 25 to 30 seconds, I seen a dog man with my own eyes, and I've got pictures of those too. And within the 3 minutes of that first set of videos, I caught 3 dog men. Every one of them looked different. And this picture here was taken off the last 3 minutes of that set of videos. And I've got the raw video to this. And I never seen these creatures, and they were probably about 40 to 50 yards from me where I was videoing. And as I'm panning around, I never seen them there until I went back and reviewed the footage. And when I reviewed the footage, I seen these two. This one here looks like a juvie. This one here looks pretty damn evil. And then up in here, somewhere in one, I want to say maybe either this tree or this tree, I can't remember. But if you watch the video, you can see something move up in the tree that's just as dark as this one here. And it looked massive. So that's, and so that, to me, that's what, 3-5 dog men caught in the span of 9 minutes. And this is on a 10-acre plot of property. So I get a lot of stuff out there. Vocalizations, I got a lot of vocalizations out there. Those are all on my YouTube channel if you want to check them out. Another one, and if you want to see them in a different spectrum, this is how I verify some of the stuff that's there. I put them in different spectrums of light. As you can see, the creatures never change colors. They're still dark. This one here is a really good one. You can really see them defined. You see a nose, the mouth. Here's an ear. Here's another ear, part of the shoulder, part of the shoulder. And where's my other one? This is a Bigfoot I caught. And I caught this at the same time, about 5 minutes apart, from a dogman that I caught just prior to that, 5 minutes, and about 150 yards apart. So if you could tell, you can see here's the jaw, part of the mouth, nose is right in here. You see the cheekbone here. Here's the brow ridge. You see an ear, and right up in here is the head. So he had kind of a rounded head. And he was probably about 80 yards away from me. I had a monocular device that attaches to my phone, and I actually took a picture of him like that. And I never seen him either. I just happened to go through the photos and I actually caught him. So it's kind of actually a luck of the draw. This one right here, I actually seen him. And this is the one that I talked about earlier in the show where it messed with my phone when I had him in the viewfinder of my phone and I could see the head, the features, the eyes. Man, it just looked like a big German Shepherd dog, man. And then when I took the picture, it messed with my resolution, and this is what I got. So it did something to my phone. But he was standing there. My son actually seen him with the optic on my rifle. He actually held up the optic, which I told him not to do. And he said when he looked at it and seen it, that it turned its head. So it knew what the firearm was. But you see eye here, nose. Part of the neck, ears, and all that's covered by this foliage in here. So he was just peeking, just seeing what we were doing, and he got caught. Here's I think this is, let's see if this is the same one. If you look, and this is one I haven't showed yet, but if you look where that arrow is, you can see a nose, you can see a brow ridge. Here's where the eyes are. Here's the head. And then behind this branch here, you can see the shoulder. And this one is kind of like your type 3, kind of looks like your ape, gorilla type Bigfoot. So yeah, I caught him too. This was probably about a month after the last pictures I just showed y'all. So, so this is what I put out. I don't put out any evidence unless I'm for sure. And, you know, I've gotten some good stuff, vocalizations. I got them all on here. I'll play them at another show. But definitely get a lot of good stuff. I'm planning on, hopefully, if gas prices don't shoot too high, I'm about 2 hours from the Sam Houston National Forest. So I plan on going out there and doing a little investigating, because I hear that's probably one of the hottest spots in the U.S. right now as far as dogmen and Bigfoot. And I've also heard there's been a Gugway sighted out there. So I'm going to try and get out there and get some evidence there. One thing I wanted to let y'all in on and announce to y'all. So I was supposed to do a live yesterday, make a big announcement. Of course, I've been under the weather for the last almost week. Didn't get my voice back till this morning, and it's still kind of crackling, whatever you want to call it, raspy. So the announcement is me and B partnered up, and we decided for me to produce her show on my YouTube channel. So it's going to be 2 shows on the same channel. So it's going to be double the content. And we're going to be doing stuff like this now. Tonight's show is actually B's show. If you've seen the intro, that's the intro I made for her. You'll see the outro here in just a little bit. But her shows will be off of my YouTube channel. I'll be producing her shows. I'll still be putting out my shows as well. Like I said, I've been under the weather the last week and hadn't been able to do pretty much anything. So be on the lookout for that. Go into YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that alert button. That way, when we go live, you get all the notifications when we go live. It'll be either my show or her show. It'll never be at the same time. Like I said, I co-host with her most of the time, but if you see her show and I'm not on there, I can still hear everything. I'll be backstage and producing the show and everything, showing y'all pictures that she wants me to show or videos or whatever the sort. So we're looking at big things. Like I said, we're looking to hit 1,000 subscribers. Once we do that, we're going to start doing merch giveaways. You know, if you can see, I always get the side wrong. T-shirts, you know, pins, mouse pads. We got patches made. You want to see those. Also got stickers. we'll be sending out to everybody. Also for my Texas group, Texas Cryptid Project. Both of those groups are on Facebook. Go join the groups. Get in there because we post some good stuff. Join B's group. You can see it in the banner below. Go join that, and subscribe to the channel and hit that alert. And we're gonna be doing some big things. Like I said, once I get my go out to the Sam Houston, get my evidence, I'll review it, which will take me a little while because I plan on getting doing a lot of filming out there. And just to go through a 16-minute video clip could take 2-3 days at the very least. So I'll let y'all know when that's fixing to come out, and it'll definitely come out to YouTube and in the Facebook, all 3 Facebook groups. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and in the broadcast. Like I said, thank y'all everybody for showing up. It's the first time B Show being on YouTube. It's gonna be on Darkwoods now. Go subscribe. Let's get up to 1,000, and we'll start doing them merch giveaways, y'all. With that, everybody have a good night. Be safe on the Saturday night, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
I know my